It was supposed to be a fun weekend getaway, just a few friends heading out into the wilderness for some camping and hiking. We were all excited to escape the stresses of everyday life and spend a few days surrounded by nature. Little did we know, those few days would turn into a nightmare that we would never forget. We arrived at our campsite early in the afternoon, and we immediately set about pitching our tents and gathering firewood. We were all chatting and laughing, enjoying the peacefulness of the forest, but something felt off. It was as if we were being watched. As night fell, we lit a fire and settled in around it, roasting marshmallows and telling stories. That's when we heard it, a low growling sound coming from the darkness. We all froze, staring into the trees, trying to see what was making the noise. That's when we saw it, a pair of glowing eyes staring back at us. At first, we tried to convince ourselves that it was just an animal, a bear or a wolf, but as it got closer, we could see that it was something much stranger. It was taller than a man, with long, spindly limbs and matted fur. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and it moved with an unnatural grace. We all scrambled to our feet, unsure of what to do. We had no weapons, no means of defending ourselves. The creature seemed to be playing with us, stalking us from the shadows, never quite revealing itself fully. As the night wore on, the creature became more aggressive, getting closer and closer to our campsite. We could hear its breathing, heavy and ragged, just beyond the circle of light cast by our fire. We tried to keep the fire going, hoping that it would keep the creature at bay, but it was no use. Suddenly, one of my friends screamed, and we all turned to see the creature leaping towards him. We were all running now, scattering into the woods in different directions, hoping to outrun the creature. I ran as fast as I could, branches and thorns tearing at my clothes and skin. I could hear the creature crashing through the woods behind me, its footsteps pounding like thunder in my ears. I thought I was going to die. But then, just as I was about to collapse from exhaustion, I stumbled upon a small cabin in the woods. I pushed open the door and collapsed on the floor, gasping for breath. It was then that I noticed the symbols and strange objects scattered around the cabin. It was as if someone had been practicing dark magic there. I could feel a chill running down my spine, and I knew that I had stumbled upon something that I wasn't meant to see. That's when I heard the creature outside, snarling and clawing at the door. I frantically searched the cabin for something, anything, that could defend me. I found an old hunting knife, rusty and dull, but it was better than nothing. I stood there, knife in hand, waiting for the creature to break down the door. I was terrified, but I was also angry. Angry that this creature had ruined our weekend, angry that it had hurt my friends, angry that it was now trying to hurt me. I was determined to fight back. And then it stopped. The scratching and snarling outside ceased, and there was only silence. I waited for a few moments, but nothing happened. I cautiously opened the door and peered outside, but there was no sign of the creature. I made my way back to our campsite, heart racing, unsure of what I would find. As I approached, I could see that the fire had gone out, and there was no sign of my friends. I called out their names, but there was no response. I searched the woods for hours, but I never found them. It was as if they had disappeared into thin air. I was alone, in the middle of nowhere, with no idea what to do next. As the sun began to rise, I stumbled upon a ranger station. I told the rangers what had happened, but they looked at me skeptically, as if I were crazy. They said they had never heard of any creature like the one I described, and they insisted that I must have been hallucinating. But I knew what I had seen, and I knew that my friends were missing. I stayed in the area for days, searching for any clues or signs of my friends, but there was nothing. Years have passed since that fateful night, but the memory of the creature and what happened to my friends still haunts me. I have never been able to shake the feeling that the creature is still out there, waiting in the shadows, watching and waiting for its next victims. I don't know what the creature was or where it came from, but I do know that it was something beyond our understanding. Something ancient and terrifying, something that had no place in our world. And I know that I will never forget that night, the night we were hunted by a creature from our worst nightmares.